Welcome to the Dog's Table. Hosted by Craig Fountain and Jared Fatty Bates. Get access to special guests, anyone can join the Dog's Table. Find the link to join the show in the comments when we go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope, and everywhere on the Big Play Network. Here's your hosts, Craig Fountain and Jared Fatty Bates.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Dog's Table. It feels weird being on this side, but my host, Craig Fountain, had to take a leave of absence from the show. So I am in charge for right now. My name is Jared Fatty Bates, and I will have a few co-hosts here throughout the next few episodes to get us through the Browns. But you can find us here on Big Play. You can find us on our Dog's Table on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So let me bring in my co-host, who is actually my other co-host of Illegal Head in the Face. Let me bring in my big fella, Big Bry. What's going on, Big Bry?
Hey, man. As per Kevin Stefanski's orders, I am liquored up, and I am ready to give a full-throated effort.
Full-throated effort. Wow, you are there.
That's what he asked for. I'm ready.
All right. Well, just
doing it for you, Kevin.
I love it. I love it. All right, so welcome to the Dog's Table. We are a roundhouse table where people can call in, technically, like a radio show, and give their comments about the Browns. We're going to go through our stuff that we have, but I want to thank Bri. Thank you, bud, for helping me out with this today.
Anytime.
I appreciate it. Yep. And also, I want to thank Craig. Craig got a beautiful thing started here. And we are going to, oh boy, Chris Span already. Full throat sounds a little too dirty.
That's what he said. Verbatim.
Yeah, okay. So this is how we're starting off. So welcome to the Dog's Table. All right. So to get into our show, Bri, we have to get into the Week 2 recap. Cleveland Browns beat the Houston Texans 31-21. And I predicted 40-21. You predicted what? 31-13. So we were kind of close on our predictions. But also before we start, Big Play, thank you for the awesome tailgate at the Jack Casino. Had such a great time. I got to meet Dave. I got to meet Chris McNeil. I got to meet Padone. Got to meet Phil Taylor. And by the way, I thought I would dwarf Phil Taylor. No, just size-wise. And I'm like,
you thought you would dwarf Phil Taylor.
Well, what's really funny, until he stood up, I did because of the chair I was sitting in. I'm sitting over top of him like this, like, yeah, no. And then he stood up. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. Would you like another cup of porridge?
At least twice your size.
Oh my!
Probably a foot taller.
And then I thanked him for everything, and then he shook my hand, And then my hand disappeared. And I'm like, wow, I cannot be an NFL player. So on those guys, it was a great time though, Brian. We had a blast at the casino. I had an absolute blast. We had so many people come up. They won raffles. They won koozies. They won T-shirts. Hope came away with my wife came away with the Big Play T-shirt. So it's a great time. So whenever we do it again, please check it out because you will definitely have fun with it. But let's get into this Texans game, bud. I mean, it's 31-21. The spread was what, 13.5, I think, or something like that, 12.5?
It probably got up that high, yeah. Around 12, 13.
So, I mean, how do you think about the game? Do you think the game just kind of was – you think they come off the high of the Kansas City and it's just like, we can beat them and just roll it out there?
Yeah, it's a difficult game, even though the opponent might not be very difficult. But, I mean, give the Texans credit. They're a bunch of veterans. Tyrod Taylor came out and he showed out. But, it wasn't maybe the effort that we were looking for as Browns fans, especially after Kansas City. You figure you fight tooth and nail with Kansas City down to the wire. You should have no problem with Houston. But you got to remember, you were preparing for Kansas City for at least a month, if not, going back to our defeat in January. So you had to figure there might be a little bit of a letdown, and we saw that. But, all things considered, injuries considered, we came out with a W. We won by 10 points. So it wasn't pretty at times, but, I'll take it and move on, survive and advance. That's what they say in the NFL. So we got to do it again with Chicago Bears and, just keep pushing forward. It wasn't as bad as some people think it was.
All right, so we got our first question for the dog pin, which is what we call the comments or somebody in the holding. Chris asked, are mobile quarterbacks going to be our problem for us?
I hope not, but that's why you drafted JOK. You need that guy that linebacker in the front seven to chase down these mobile quarterbacks. So he's still green. He's still raw. Maybe he can do it. We get another test in a few weeks with Kyler Murray, and then we know we play Lamar Jackson twice. So we'll get our test coming up. And I don't think so right now. You can put that on us, but the defense has a long way to go.
So are you upset the way Houston came out and it was just, 31-21. We weren't expecting that. We were expecting our defense to do a lot better. And we were expecting the score to be a lot more diverse, right? We were expecting it to be at least more of a 2-score game, maybe a 3-score game. Are you kind of upset as a Browns fan not getting that, that score that you needed?
Yeah, it's funny as Browns fans how we've gone from 1-15, 0-16 to now that the bar is set so high to where we think we're just going to run up the score on these bad teams 28-0 and just cruise to a win, and that's not how it always works. So as a Browns fan, you're probably a little disappointed because we didn't look great at times, and that defense still has some kinks to work out, but I'll take the effort. We know Myles Garrett's going to play better. We know Denzel Ward's going to play better. We know Greg Newsome's going to mature. And, we had guys step up when we needed them. Malcolm Smith played a pretty good game. Delpit for his first game in a couple years. I thought he played pretty well. And the offense had some nicks. Guys leave early, guys that were playing hurt, and they still found a way to score 31 points. So, if you said that a couple years ago that we'd score 31 points on our bad day, I think we'd all take it.
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to bring up to everybody, and this was a trivia question at our tailgate. What was the last quarterback to win us a playoff game? Think about that. Think about 1990, was it 3, 4?
94. Yeah, 94.
And who was it, Brian?
I think it was Vinny. Was it Vinny?
It was Vinny Testaverde. Mm-hmm. Think about that, people. We have a quarterback that is actually playing his ass. who dislocates a shoulder trying to tackle somebody, which Baker, please do not do that anymore. But I love it, though, because I love it for a young team, the way this team is, because it shows that the quarterback will do anything for this team. And then that brings the whole team around the quarterback. What do you think about him trying to tackle somebody?
He's a gamer. We know that about Baker. Baker's not the type of quarterback to throw an interception and then not give full effort afterwards. He's not the Ben Roethlisberger in the playoff game last year when the snap sails over his head and he just kind of runs back and hopes somebody else will fall on it, only to let the other team get it. I mean, he probably didn't have to make that tackle because I think there were other guys around there to stop the touchdown, but he doesn't know that. He's in the game. He's probably a little pissed off that he threw an interception, and he wants to make good on it, but he'll learn. You know, you're more valuable to us playing the next possession than you are as a defensive back or linebacker trying to make a tackle.
And if you're new to the show, the comments, the link to get into the show is in the comments. So come in, join us. Like we always say, come to the table and eat with us. Because this is what, well, I'm fat. That's what I do. Brian, yeah, that's what Brian does.
Oh, you don't think I eat a little bit?
I know you eat a little bit. I know.
A lot of it.
Yeah. So, Brian, do you want to get into our Twitter poll of the week, buddy?
Yeah,
are you excited for that?
Heck yeah.
All right,
what is it?
Well, see, I'm on this side now. Give me a second to find the Twitter poll.
I will. I'll drink that.
The Dogs Table Twitter poll of the week, which you can sponsor if you want to. Hit us up, DM us, message us, email us. Twitter poll of the week. Are you concerned about the injuries so far? We have just found out today that Jarvis Landry is on the injured reserve list, so we will not see him for 3 weeks. Also, Jedrick Wills, Conklin, Treader, Baker with a shoulder, somebody with a hamstring, and let's just keep going. I know it's all around the NFL, but these are key players for us as Browns. Brian, how do you feel about it?
I'm not worried yet. And maybe that's because we still have our core, our elite guys intact. It was scary, don't get me wrong, seeing Baker lay there on the field, gripping his shoulder. But, Chubb's still good. Miles, even though he hasn't played up to his potential, he's fine. Baker's good. Hopefully get Odell back. And when it comes to Jarvis Landry, yeah, like you said, he'll be out 3, maybe 4 weeks, and then we'll get him back. So we've lost a couple guys for the season. Jacob Phillips, that hurts, but I'm not sure Jacob Phillips is top 20 most important guy on our team. Anthony Walker, hopefully he'll be back soon. He's out at least 3 weeks too. Yeah, I'm not too overly concerned right now because it's football. You're going to have guys that get hurt. You have guys that miss a week here, a week there. We're still a long ways away from December, January, February when we need everyone there fully healthy.
And I'm the same way. I think everybody's been groomed for a certain position, and now that Landry's out for at least a few weeks, that makes you look at Peoples-Jones, that makes you look at Higgins, that makes you look at Schwartz and Felton, who made one heck of a play, which we will get it later. But I mean, it frees up some time to let's see what happens. I mean, let's see here. I like it. Shows we're on his part for the W, and he's not a delicate flower. Okay, and we'll still have my Hollywood. Gotta love the Hollywood. Hey, he actually played the game for once, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Is he banged up a little bit, or what's going on with him? Because we would assume with Jarvis and Odell out that he would get a lot of action.
Well, he's getting a lot of action now. They did Schwartz there for the first game because Odell kind of claimed himself out at the first game. But you got to realize that your boy, Michigan, Peoples Jones, is right above him.
That's
He,
it, and it's weird. It's strange to me that they featured him so much in the preseason, like they're grooming him for something, and now
yeah,
the opportunity is at his feet with the top two guys out. And what do you have? One catch, and then he fumbled it. So I don't know if they lost confidence in him after that,
that
but
that might be a Baker thing on that one.
it
I
was
mean,
kind of a bang bang play. I wasn't even certain. I thought it was just an incomplete pass at first, but he got 2 feet down.
well, and it was a freak fumble too because I mean the helmet was on the ball. It was like one of those ones that was like, eh. Like, yeah, I understand you fumbled it, but it was technically not your fault. We'll go from there.
Sure.
So,
And I mean, so what'd you say? So Baker completed 19 of 21,
yes, he
and
did.
and how many of those were to receivers? I'm not counting Felton as a receiver. What he completed 3 or 5 to receivers?
Five to
5,
receivers, tight ends, and running backs.
right? So that was kind of strange. I think that kind of points to just the conservative game plan going into it. And as fans, we knew that the Texans weren't going to give us all we could handle, even though they gave us more of a test than we thought. But I
Yeah.
think once Landry went out, once Baker was banged up a little bit, I think they just. I mean, I have it right here. They Baker was 7 for 7 on passes behind the line, at the line or behind the line. He was 15 of 15 passes 1 yard through 10 yards, and then he was 4 of 6 over 10 yards. So he didn't throw the ball down the field very much, just 6 times out of 21 passes. So they knew what they were doing. I mean, a lot of screens, and they were successful doing those. And they knew that the Texans probably aren't going to beat you unless you beat yourself, unless you turn the ball over a lot. So it was just that conservative game plan, run the ball, escape with a win. Hopefully nobody else gets hurt.
So we did this Twitter poll, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to take a guess at who won?
Give me the options.
All right. So you had yes, no, and slightly for the
Are you
Twitter poll.
concerned? Are you concerned
Are you
with injuries?
concerned?
Is that what it is?
Are you concerned about the injuries piling up on the Browns?
Right.
So what do you think?
I would say slightly is probably in the lead, but I don't know.
No, well, no is at 37%, slightly at
Mm-hmm.
35, yes at 28. So those are
Okay.
your Twitter poll results. And
Pretty
Bry,
even.
I got a special guest for you. You ready?
Oh yeah. Eric
Yeah.
Metcalf.
It's not Eric Metcalf. It's not our
Shoot. Not again.
We got Brad Wardle with us right now. What's going on, Brad?
What's up? What a disappointment.
Hey,
Eric
Brad.
Metcalf, and it's just Brad.
It's
I
just
always talk to Eric Metcalf. I'm happy to see you.
Hey,
hey,
guys, how are
by
you?
the way, you didn't even talk to Eric Metcalf. You're like, I don't know what to do with my hands right now. I'm
Yeah.
just you went fanboy.
Basking in his glow. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I know. Brad,
The
thank
hell
you
with
for
that.
joining us.
Yeah, I got your
So-
bat I got your bat signal there.
Well, I had Kevin Arnold was supposed to come on with us, and he had an emergency. And what you don't know is Craig is taking a step back from the Dogs Table, and I am in charge of the Dogs Table now. So I thank you so much for joining
of
us.
course, anytime, brother.
So we just found out we went through injuries, everything else. Let's get into let's get into the meat potatoes is what I like to call it.
Okay.
You had Baker Mayfield, 19 of 21 for 213, a touchdown, an interception, a rushing touchdown, right?
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on Baker? And I'll go with Big Bry first. Well, I mean, it's 19-21. He's like the most efficient quarterback right now at like 80 some odd percent, right?
86.1.
Yeah.
I mean, why are people still having questions about Baker, Big Bry?
Just because I think we were hoping he would take the next step. And I'm not saying he can't right now, but maybe his numbers have not reflected that. Although you could point to the completion percentage as him making the next step because he's been struggling. He's been towards the bottom of the league the last couple of years. I think last year was 62, 63, something like that. And so for him to be at 80 now, you don't know if that's Stefanski just calling easy completions for him or him just making the right choice and checking it down. And we've seen it over the last 20 years. Tom Brady, make the right choice. Don't turn the ball over. Complete the pass. Give your guys a chance to make positive yardage. So that's what we're seeing with Baker. And, in the games when he needs to take shots deep, like Kansas City, he was doing it. And he was looking great for those first 3 quarters. But, we see Lamar Jackson do what he did on Monday night, and that's what we want from Baker. And so it hurts a little bit that he didn't deliver there, but we're 2 games into the season. We're 1-1. We're exactly where we thought we were going to be, and there's plenty of time for Baker to continue to progress. And in my opinion, this is exactly where he needs to be. He's in the good mindset to where he can go forward, build some confidence, and we don't have to cater to him every single game. He can do it himself. He can make his own decisions. And to this point, I mean, a couple interceptions, yeah, that kind of stinks, but he'll be fine, in my opinion.
Brad, what about you?
Yeah, I have no problem with the way Baker Mayfield's played. I think he's been great. I thought he was really, really good in the Kansas City game, and I thought he was great up until he got hit in the game on Sunday, and they really just kind of leaned into, not going to let him drop back in 5-step drops and take any more hits. So they leaned into the run game, and I think that was a smart thing to do. It also was a way to make sure they got the win. So, it coincided to be what the best path for everybody, right? The best path for Baker, the best path to get the victory on Sunday, and I don't know what you can question about his performance so far. I think he's been great. The interception on Sunday I don't think was his fault.
You're going with Schwartz on that one, right?
Schwartz stopped short on his route going over the middle. That's a rookie mistake. He thought he was going to get popped by a safety. He probably was, but you still don't stop your route.
I mean, it was nice seeing Baker throw to a spot, but it was weird seeing a wide receiver just stop. That's what I saw. He just stopped, but it was also nice to see a little bit of flame fly in the ass of our head coach, because from what I saw, he was in that guy's ear hole, Schwartz's ear hole, the entire time after that. And I'm going, I have never seen Stefanski upset before, and I've seen it now.
Yeah, he got in that ass after that, and he deserved it, man. I mean, because ultimately, when that play set up, he throws that ball right in front of the safety. Ideally, the he's supposed to run right in front of his face, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly how it's supposed to work. And when you stop, obviously it's going to get intercepted, and it looks bad. But I mean, it would have been a completion for probably big yardage if he keeps running. So yeah, man, Stefanski got in that ass, and I'm glad he got in that ass. He needs to do. I mean, that was good to see, and he was fired up. They were losing at the time, but Sunday was a weird game. Take it for what it's worth. There's a lot of stuff they need to work on. The thing that I'm most concerned with, not Baker Mayfield, is nowhere near the top of the list.
Well, okay, so let's go to this one. Ground and pound. Nick Chubb, 11 for 95 and 1 touchdown. 11 for 95. Let me repeat that. 11 for 95 and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 13 for 51. I mean, Craig, I'm sorry, Brad, I argued with you about Kareem Hunt being a third down back, and you and I joked around about it afterwards. I had to be bad cop on that one. But I understand what Kareem Hunt is. And you know something? I brought this up to Brian on our show. You know, watching Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt run is a totally different person because Kareem Hunt wants punishment. He wants to just put a helmet underneath somebody's chin, run them over, and then put a cleat on their back as he's going to the end zone. And you look at Nick Chubb, and he's like, it's not that he doesn't like it. It's just like he makes one clip, he's gone.
Yeah.
Just one cut, gone. And this is what Brian and I were joking around about earlier. It's like, I have never seen a running back just want punishment like Kareem Hunt. Like, he just wants to just upset somebody.
He's a Cleveland guy. I mean, what more do you expect?
Man. Yeah, he's a powerful dude, man. He lowers that shoulder and just, I mean, he's going to make you pay for it if you're going to try to tackle him.
And it's amazing because when you do try to tackle him, you're falling forward at least 2 yards, maybe 3.
Oh, yeah. His momentum, I mean, it was crazy on Sunday. A couple of those, his whole body just flying through the air like 5 extra yards after he got hit. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, we know they can do that, though, right? We know they can run the ball, and I think they can do it pretty much on anybody. I mean, the Texans sat in back with 2 safeties back and were said, go ahead, nickel and dime us all day, run the ball on us. We're not going to, let you beat us down the field. And so that's what the Browns were forced to do. They did a good job in the second half of doing exactly that. I mean, you have to run the ball enough and stay disciplined enough in your game plan to make them bring that safety up or change that shell type coverage, that funnel type defense that the Browns ran against Kansas City. The same thing here with Texans versus the Browns a little bit. So, and in the first half, I mean, okay, so you lose Jarvis Landry, right? And then you go to Schwartz, and he stops short on an interception. And then you go to Peoples-Jones, and he fumbles. So what do you do next, right? You have your tight ends out there who you utilized, but you run the ball, right? And you go win the game, I mean, at that point. So, yeah, not great from the young wide receivers on Sunday when they had a chance. Higgins, I thought, was okay, though.
All right, so Brian, go ahead.
I was going to – what do you guys make of that? We've had Jarvis for 1 game. Odell has been out for 2 games. And we were looking all preseason and all offseason for Peoples-Jones to step up. We were looking for Higgins to step up. And through 2 games, neither one of them has done a whole lot. So is that game plan? Is that them just not stepping up to the table? Or why haven't these guys had more than 1 or 2 catches in our first 2 games?
I honestly think it's just that every week it's going to be somebody different. I think I'm going to take this Texans week as kind of a one-off because there was probably so much of the game plan that was dedicated to Jarvis. You know what I mean? He goes out that early. They have to make the adjustment on the fly. You know what I mean? So I would say that this offense is going to have a different guy shine every week. I think we might get OBJ back this Sunday, honestly. So, but I think Donovan Peoples-Jones will have his share of big games. I'm not giving up on him. Schwartz already had a big game in his first, So I just think it's that type of offense that, pick your poison, and the Browns are going to take what's there. So far, Peoples-Jones hasn't been great this year. No, he's done a great job blocking. He's a great blocking wide receiver. But, he hasn't had his big game yet, but that doesn't mean he won't have it. I think he will have it for sure at some point.
So the question I got to ask is, was it Davion Davis? Demarion Davis?
Davion.
He gone.
He gone, but I guess he's back on the practice squad.
Okay, that's good.
Well, I don't know because we had somebody tell us on our show that he got signed back and said, "Guess what? I'm back again," which was hilarious. But I mean, are you surprised with Jarvis going to IR that they brought him a defensive end and not another playmaker to kind of help out?
No, because I think Felton is that guy. I mean, Felton proved that he is that guy on Sunday. I mean, I think you're going to see Felton in the slot a lot going forward. I was wondering where it was at in the first half. Even I tweeted it out. I was like, "Where's Felton at? Get him in the slot." And then they did. They ran. It's actually the same play that Jarvis got hurt on. They ran it to the other side. He scored a touchdown on it. It was a ridiculous run. But yeah, Felton. Yeah, so he is yelling, "I'm back" on his Twitter. Davion Davis confirming. Cleared waivers, re-signed to practice squad, so they can call. I mean, they still can call him up, But the guy that they brought up at defensive end is a beast. I love this guy.
All right, so now I gotta ask.
I can't pronounce his
Yeah,
name. But
come on, give it a try.
We tried to do it earlier, and I
Give
cannot.
it a try.
Hold on. If I could see it, I'll give it a nice try for you. It's a Fidi or a Fetty.
Yeah.
Let me check. It's a Fidi Odenigbo.
Yep, nailed it.
Odenigbo, yeah.
Did he nail it?
Odenigbo.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, prize already.
yeah.
Check Wikipedia.
6'3", 258, defensive end. I mean, I like this guy a lot. He can get after the quarterback, and I think that it's good to bring him up. If they're not satisfied with what they're getting from, Joe Johnson or Tack McKinley, and maybe some of those they've been awful on third down on defense, awful. And you have to generate.
12.
Yep.
How do you give them a third 12?
Yeah, they have to generate some pressure, more pressure, I think, from their front four. So bringing him up, I think, is give him an opportunity. I think he can get after the quarterback.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead.
Well, I'm a little. I mean, to answer your question, I'm a little surprised that they didn't bring another wide receiver up, because who knows what we have with Odell. I think Peoples-Jones is probably the only receiver that's fully healthy, and if these guys start dropping a little bit like flies, I know we can rely on our tight ends. We can rely on Bryant, Njoku, and Hooper to all be on the field at the same time. We have Felton and Hunt that can split out. But what if a couple of these guys fall down and we have two wide receivers left on Sundays?
Well, here's the thing. They're still in, the COVID rules. So on Sunday, you can bring up any practice squad player. So, they still have that flexibility. So if something were to happen between now and then and they need to call, I mean, Elijah Lee, right?
Yes.
He on the first Sunday in Kansas City, he was on the practice squad technically, and they dressed him on the 48, right? So they can do that. Anybody you want on the practice squad, you can put on the 48 on Sunday up till that 48 people. So there's no restriction on that kind of movement based on last minute guys going out, whatever. So if they feel like they need Davion Davis as part of the game plan, they can even game plan and leave him on the practice squad and call him up on Sunday if they want. I don't think they're at that point yet, because you go Higgins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Schwartz, right? Felton. There's your four wide receivers, and then maybe OBJ.
Just curious. Yeah, that's. I brought this up to Bry because they brought up a defensive end and they put Jarvis down. Does that mean like OBJ is coming this week, right? He's got.
I don't know. I think OBJ will come when OBJ is ready to come. I get that feeling. Mary Kay Cabot has hinted at it multiple times that this is the week in some of her stuff.
Okay.
Take that for what it's worth. I don't know, what she knows. A couple other people have kind of hinted that this may be the week. I don't know. I'm not going to believe it until I see it, because he was like, I thought it was week 1 for sure, and he was like, I'm uncomfortable. So, so we'll see.
Brad, do you want to join us for the Dog of the Week?
Sure, I would be happy to join you.
All right, let's do it. So our dog of the week is always brought to you by City Dogs of Cleveland. And I want to throw this out there because I'm not Craig and I don't do the fancy glitzy stuff. But let's bring up some stuff here. You have the City Dogs. They do a concession stand. They're in the dog pound on 121. There they are right there. Zoom in on that because if you want to volunteer, get a hold of them at City Dogs of Cleveland. Also, they have a new mascot with the City Dog Cleveland sign. And our City Dog of the week is Melvin. Look at that guy. Melvin is a spry young man, and I do not have all the words to describe Melvin because I did not bring up my phone. I apologize. But
the pictures.
I know
he's adorable.
gorgeous. Look at him. By the way,
He's in
Brad
great shape.
and Bry, we had one of our dogs that were featured on our dog's table adopted already.
Sweet.
Also, they
Sweet.
have the cheapest adoption available to Cleveland area. It is $61 to adopt a dog. All right.
Wow.
So
Can't beat it.
also, let me bring that one up here because that was our last dog. Contact them. Let me bring down the banner. I apologize. Let me go a second. There is how you can get a hold of them. City Dogs of Cleveland on Facebook, and their phone number. Or you can get a hold of us here at the Dogs Table, and we will get you in touch with everybody. So, on that note, Bry, you have never been here for this, and Brad, I think you were here for like a second on one of them.
Okay.
We give one defensive player, one offensive player, and an honorable mention. So I'm going to give you guys the platform for your dog of the week, and let's go honorable mention dog of the week.
Could be offense or defense.
Offense or defense? Honorable mention.
Okay. Well, I can't. All right. I'll go Malcolm Smith because he had that big interception. He stepped up big with Anthony Walker out.
Good call.
He was the heart and soul of our defense. We needed him to step up. He did. He had a bit of a tough week in week 1 with Travis Kelce doing what he did in the red zone against him, but he bounced back, and I think he had an impact on this team, and he was the voice out there. He's that veteran leader that we needed to step up. That's why we signed him. When all else is chaotic, we can turn to him and get some normalcy, and he can calm us down. So he would be my honorable mention of the week.
Brad, what about you?
I'm going to give it to Jedrick Wills for giving it a go. Injured, went out there on Sunday, played, a good portion of the game, dinged up. That's what you like to see from these guys. They got him out when he got tight, and they put in hands. But good on him for giving it a go. I mean, I don't think he practiced all week, so good for him.
I'm going to give you a piggyback on that one. Jedrick Wills, honorable mention. When I see Jedrick Wills, the other guy on the line that nobody talks about this guy at all, J.C. Treader. He plays hurt all the time. But the one guarantee is J.C. Treader will make the snaps for this football team. So
another guarantee, he will piss me off in the offseason as president of the Players Association.
See, there it is.
It's a long ways away.
Boom. Boom.
Let's focus
All
on
right.
the season.
Let's go defensive dog of the week. And Brad, let's go with you. Defensive dog of the week.
Oh, this is an easy one. I would have said, Malcolm Smith is up there for sure. I think he played like 60 snaps or something. Basically didn't leave the field, but Grant Delpit, baby. Welcome to the NFL.
Just dropped it. Go ahead, Brian.
Tackle for
No,
a loss.
no.
Should have been 2 sacks. but they gave him a tackle. So I think it was like a sack and 2 tackle for loss, strip fumble, and he was flying around in coverage too. I was actually surprised at how many snaps they played him. So good on him, huh?
Brian, you want me to go?
Yeah, you go because you got.
Okay, you're about to explode.
Grant Delpit all day. Grant Delpit all day. Brian and I have talked about this for years, Brad. And there is a special player that you see. Honey Badger was one of them. We had a chance to get to Honey Badger. We didn't, right? But Grant Delpit was the next one I saw. No matter what you say about what he did in college or anything else, you watch him play. Oh my God, he is a difference maker. And guess what? So is Jock. I cannot wait to see these two together and see what happens. But yes, my defensive dog of the week, for once, Grant Delpit coming off the edge and tackling right. Not spearing anybody, shoulder down, right at the hips, and he just speared him. Love it. Brian, what about you?
Well, let's not forget that his last game that he played was the national championship game against Trevor Lawrence and Clemson a year and a half ago with Joe Burrow at LSU and Justin Jefferson. And think of all that those guys have accomplished since then. That was the last game that he ever played. So for him to do that in his first game is very encouraging, and we should be ecstatic as Browns fans. But just to be maybe a little different.
By the way, he was hurt in that game, and he still played.
He was hurt all year, and that's why he slid to us, and it was a blessing in disguise if he could ever get on the straight and narrow and get his health turned around and be a consistent guy for us game in and game out. But my dog of the week is Jadeveon Clowney. Miles Garrett, didn't have a huge impact on the game. Clowney had a couple of big tackle for losses in the first half on run plays, and we didn't get to the quarterback a whole lot, but Clowney had a couple of our pressures, so good on him for stepping up. I think they probably focused on Miles stopping him, and Clowney made a couple of plays.
Agreed. I thought he played really well.
Well, guess what, boys? Offensive dog of the week. So let's go with Big Brad. Big Brad, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels a little cheap on me picking the quarterback, but Baker gutting through this performance without his top 2 receivers, his left tackle banged up, Schwartz being a little banged up, and for him to throw over 90% completion was just unbelievable. And, him getting hurt, him coming back because he knew his team needed him, and he gutted us to a win, and that's all we can ask from our quarterback. So Baker, the criticism can come that he's not throwing for a ton of yards or a ton of touchdowns, but he did what he had to do. So I'll pat him on the back.
My turn?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the Young Bucks this week. I'll take Demetric Felton, my offensive dog of the week. Needed a splash play, and he delivered, just like he did all of the off season. So I'm gonna go with him.
Well, I have to go opposite all of you guys. I gotta go with the guy that has been getting a lot of grief, Austin Hooper. 5 catches, 40 yards. He did all the dirty work that he needed to do. And granted, Harrison Bryant, Njoku, everybody else, he was the most targeted guy. He caught everything, and he moved the chains. So let me go Austin Hooper on that one. I hate to do it because you
play Dave in the chat.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Well, Dave saying that Chubb, that's a no-brainer. I mean, he's our best player, and he's what makes our offense go. So,
we need Chubb. We need Dave to get in here with us and have some fun.
Get some good questions down there. Do you know how to click on those?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do. That's a good one.
Javian, or do we need? Oh,
I don't.
Javian.
I don't think that. Well, first of all, they play two different positions, sort of. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
Clowney slides inside sometimes, and Richardson used to slide outside sometimes. But it's a good question because I think that the defense is where a lot of people are having an issue with this team so far, right? I certainly, that's where my concerns are, lie after 2 weeks. Is just, I know it takes time to gel, but I thought they would look better than this against Houston. I mean, Tyrod Taylor looked like a freaking wizard out there against us in the first half. I mean, the Browns are literally lucky that he did not come out for the second half, or else I think they would have been in a dogfight till the end. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they miss. I would say yes, they would miss Sheldon Richardson because he was a huge part of what they did up front. But I don't think they miss him because of one guy, and that guy's name is Malik McDowell, who has been very good so far. He pushes that pocket and has been great against the run. So I think he has sufficiently replaced Richardson to that level, or maybe even better. I mean, he raised Malik McDowell takes the ceiling of what this defense could have been and raised it by a ton because he brings something they didn't have in that interior defensive line, and provides it at a much higher level than we expected they were going to have, I think.
Yeah, and I heard Malik McDowell was the Pro Football Focus highest rated Cleveland Brown on the defensive side. So
yeah,
higher than Miles, higher than Denzel Ward, higher than John Johnson. So for him to do that, being away from football for a couple years and in his first two games, what more could you ask for? The sky's the limit for this guy, and we kind of got a steal. I don't know, Brad, if you know his contract situation. Do we have him for this year, for a couple years? I hope we have him for a long time.
So we have control over him. He becomes a I forget what it's called. He becomes a free agent, but he's controlled by us. So like it's up to our terms this offseason whether we sign him or not. Next question down. Another good one down there. Come on, let's keep it rolling.
Come on,
all right.
Felton.
Felton's quickness is unreal. Yeah. You guys think he'll continue to find more room in this offense? Yeah, I mean, I think at least while Jarvis is out, he should get a lot of those slot, role, a lot of that slot role that Jarvis maintains. So at least for the next 3 weeks, I think he has a role carved out for him. I would like to get him touches. He should have a package. They should have a package going to him into every game, right? Where we try to get him the ball in some space. I think you'll see him on some of those jet sweeps and stuff like that. I think Stefanski is very creative and good at getting guys the ball in space, and he'll do that with Felton, I think, at least while Jarvis is out for the time being.
So Brad, we brought this up on our show because we got Eric Metcalf to come on to wish Brian happy birthday, which is next week. Happy birthday, Brian! Coming up here soon.
Coming up.
Does Demetric Felton remind you of Eric Metcalf? Like
a bit.
I mean, really? Like, like I get excited when I see him. Can we change his number to 21?
I wish.
Oh.
You know why? You know why you can't though, because the 21 is reserved for the guy with the last name Ward.
I know. Happy birthday, Big Bri. Oh,
thank you.
Definitely be a Jarvis replacement. Yes, he should be. And you know the thing is Chris, what you don't realize is when Jarvis got hurt, everything was going around. I think it was OBJ actually came up to him and said, guess what? It's your spot now. You know what to do. I think he's been shadowing Jarvis this entire time to play the slot and play Jarvis's role. Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we saw him do in the preseason, so he should be ready for it now, right? Like we saw him split time with the wide receivers, probably spent more time with the wide receivers than he did the running backs in the offseason because so many guys were dinged up in and out, so they needed him in that room all offseason. It's going to pay off now. He can play wide receiver. He can play that slot role. And you know, Stefanski, he likes to move people around. I mean, he does all kinds of crazy stuff. You see him go 5 wide with Kareem Hunt is the farthest guy out wide sometimes, you know? Like, he'll spread out the field all over the place, but and get very creative. So I think that Felton will be a big part of things they do for the next few weeks here. It also depends on if OBJ is going to be back or not too, because that's going to be a big factor as well. But you at least have a package of plays for him to get him the ball in space. Jet sweeps, wide receiver screens, stuff like that. Get him the ball with some room to run, and he becomes a threat. Little slants here and there. Use him vertically. Pardon me, horizontally instead of vertically sometimes. In that offense, and I think he'll be effective that way. I think it'll be up to Higgins to step up. I mean, out of all the guys on Sunday without Jarvis that seemed to be there for Baker, Higgins always starts the season kind of in the background, in the doghouse, not dressing. This year he's a little dinged, so he only gets 4 snaps. But he's a gamer, man. On Sundays when he gets on the field, he always finds a way to get open. He finds a way to get first downs. And Baker was finding him. When they did have to pass the ball in the second half on Sunday, it was to Higgins for first downs.
So let's get into next week. I mean, we're playing the Bears. And we don't know who the quarterback's going to be, right?
No,
But
I think we know who it's going to be.
Justin Fields, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I hope so. Bring him on. I'm scared of him. We can embarrass him in his first start.
They would be insane to go back to Dalton at this point.
Yes, I understand.
They've given him they gave him the excuse to get him on the field. He didn't look great, but don't look back. It's the same thing that happened with Tyrod and Baker. Don't go back.
Right.
All right, so let's go into the offensive game plan of the week and offensive key to the game coming up. So what do you guys think of the offensive key to the game coming up? And I apologize because Princess is getting very upset downstairs. So I'm going to step out for just a second to take care of Princess and let you guys discuss the offensive key to the game next week.
Go ahead, Brian. You want to start?
I'll go, and I'll be quick, and it's just doing what you've been doing. The ground and pound, they got a heck of a defense. You got to control Khalil Mack, which is easier said than done with Wills maybe questionable heading into this one, and Conklin maybe not playing up to his ability. So you're going to have to double team him. But their linebackers are good. They're pretty solid all over. And so you have to remain focused on what you do well, and that's run the ball. And that's continue to keep Baker confident and give him easy throws to get him started. And then if he can take a shot deep to Schwartz or hopefully Odell, then you do that. But don't veer too far from what's been working for you. And, just because we're finally playing a pretty good defense doesn't mean that we need to freak out and try something new. And I don't think Stefanski will do that. He's smart enough to know that control the clock. They can't score with you. So just get up like we've been doing, get up, and then just kind of run the clock out.
Yeah, so I think that offensively, they were pretty vanilla on Sunday from the start, and they came out really flat. And the Jarvis injury really sucked the wind out of really everything they were kind of doing, momentum-wise. I expect this offense to look more like Week 1 on Sunday. I think that the one thing that the Bears, I don't think they'll be able to stop the run. I don't think anybody can stop our run, but they might be able to slow it a little bit. So I expect a game plan from Stefanski to be much more in-depth and intricate this week, stretching the field, throwing the ball, early to kind of open up the run. Sometimes you have to loosen up with the pass game downfield to open up the run. This offense is capable of doing either one. It's pick your poison. So they're kind of gonna have to have two game plans. How is Chicago going to play you? I don't think Chicago's pass defense, in my opinion, is not as good as it's been in past years, based on Week 1 and 2. So I think you can throw on them. They may bring an extra person up on the box and make you throw it early on, but that just opens up the run later. And Stefanski never stops running the football. So I thoroughly think that we'll see an excellent performance from the offense on Sunday.
Oh, and that's what we saw last year. Early on, you throw the ball, you get the lead, and then in the second half, you just kind of wear them out. So the potential is there. If you can get Baker comfortable in the pocket, you can, have guys run routes that they're used to and just keep moving the ball down the field. And we do have that quick strike offense if we really want to.
I don't think that we have to worry about Baker. I think Baker's good, man. I think they could straight drop back and let Baker win with his right arm this year. I'm kind of out of this we have to protect Baker with the play action and get him comfortable with easy. I'm beyond that. I think he's the real deal. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. I think he'll excel in whatever you put him in. I'm all for it. This is the year he shows out. So so far so good in my opinion. A couple of bad breaks, but I think that we're going to see the pass game be just as potent as the run game this year.
Does this shoulder injury concern you at all?
It does. I mean, it's a non-throwing arm. You just don't want him to miss time. So maybe a little bit, get him comfortable, like you said. But you may not. You may want to run some quick hit stuff early on. See how that offensive line does. Conklin has been struggling in pass pro a lot. For some reason, he's getting on his heels a ton and getting off balance and getting pushed off the ball. We haven't seen that from him in the past, but he's very off balance if you watch the tape a little bit. Go ahead.
He's hurt though, isn't he?
I don't know. I mean, everybody's hurt on Sunday.
Well, no, I thought Conklin was hurt last week, and I'm not making an excuse.
Conklin, I don't know if he was or not, but he's been. If you watch the tape, he's been on his heels a ton, and guys are kind of pushing, being able to get him on his heels, push off of him, and then get into the pocket. That's actually kind of how a lot of teams have both teams have gotten their pressure on Baker a couple times. We saw it again on Sunday, early in the game, on a couple of those sacks. Is Conklin getting off balance? I think he'll fix it. They'll fix it. They'll get it straightened out. But just something to keep an eye on. You don't want him taking big hits, but, I mean, you saw Baker running in the end zone between two guys after the injury and everything. I mean, Baker's going to be Baker to a certain extent.
Yeah, Baker's going to do what he does. As soon as I saw him rush for that touchdown, I'm like, yeah, he's good. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're not going to take him out.
He ran a little bit this last game. I don't know if that was the shoulder injury or what, but he was running a bit.
All right, so what are your guys' defensive keys to the game?
Man, until they get the right personnel out there, I don't know what. I'm a little frustrated with the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, you got to get off the field on third down. Okay, and they don't want to blitz anybody, and I understand you can't blitz Patrick Mahomes, but last week, you saw it a little bit at the end, finally with Delpit and stuff, but we saw the three safeties on the field. It doesn't look great so far, but that's going to take time, right? That dime package is going to take time on the field. So I think we see more of that out there. Let them kind of get a rhythm as you get the three safeties on the field. But they run so much zone. Oh my God, it's so frustrating. 84% zone the first week. I'm sure it was close last week. I would like to see Denzel. Everybody's kind of getting on Denzel for those first couple of plays. He's off by 20 feet. He's off they're playing cover 3 off coverage. Let him get up in somebody's grill, bump and run with him. That's what he does best. Newsome has been great so far too. The one penalty was bad, but I would like to see them play more man-to-man at times. Now, you're not going to see that when the three safeties are on the field, to be honest, probably. But that does give them, until JOK is on the field with Delpit and those three safeties, that's the personnel that you really need to be as fast as you can be in that cover three Seattle scheme, that you can do what Seattle used to do with it and be successful with it. Otherwise, at times it's going to look like a shell defense where you're just keeping everything in front of you. And that's what it looked like again on Sunday. And I hate it. It drives me crazy. But it doesn't. You don't give up the big play that way.
Can you read this, Brad?
I am as well. When would you guys say, or in what game do you guys say, you know what, it's time to move on? No, I don't. Yeah, from Joe Woods, I feel like he can't level up. Way too early. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy. Let's look at this. He did a terrific job last year. I don't care what anybody says. He was working with nothing. MJ Stewart, Tabier Thomas in the slot. I mean, he won games with like nothing at corner. He put together game plans that basically found them a way to win the game. And a lot of it was this kind of approach, right? Keep it in front of you, make them work it down the field. Death by a million paper cuts, right? Like matriculate the ball down the field and hope they make a mistake. Hope you stop them in the red zone, whatever. And that worked for the Browns last year because of their offense was able to outlast a lot of teams, right? Or they would get a big turnover here or there. Their talent has leveled up, but they haven't had a chance for all of them to be together. Even in training camp, they all weren't together at all because of injuries. Yeah. So, it's going to take a couple weeks and for Joe Woods to really do what he wants to do and apply the kind of pressure they want to apply and still be able to play that zone behind him, cover 3, cover 4 stuff. I think he wants to do a lot of creative stuff with the 3 safeties on the field, but first they have to get that down as their base first, right? Like you have to get them on the field, get them comfortable with each other. You got to understand that cover 3 Seattle scheme is so much about communication, passing guys off from zones, and until you're on the field and get a feel for that, it takes some time. If you want to know more about that defense, go to my YouTube channel and watch the cover 3 scheme breakdown I did with a guy over in England who specializes in it, covered the Seahawks for years, and totally breaks down that cover 3 scheme that the Browns run a lot of, and it's really interesting. So if you want to learn more about that defense.
Bri?
Yeah, just to piggyback that, there's so many guys on our defense that just don't have experience in this system. Even the guys that are playing that were on the team last year, they just didn't play a whole lot. Our linebacker room shuffled around. Delpit, Greedy Williams, Andrew Billings didn't play at all last year. So we just have a few guys that really understand the system. And so until they can all come together and mesh together, it's just going to take time. We have the talent. We just need to be patient. And as far as defensive keys for this game coming up, I'm looking for the defensive line to shine. I'm looking for us to get pressure, be it Justin Fields in his first start or the immobile Andy Dalton. I'm looking for us to get pressure with our front 4. And Chicago's offensive line isn't anything special. The guy that they drafted high last year, late first, early second round, Tevin Jenkins, he's out for the year. He was a guy they were counting on. So we should be able to get pressure with just our front 4. I know Joe Woods didn't like to blitz a whole lot last week, and that kind of points to the conservative game plan. Don't let them beat you deep. And so it'll probably be pretty similar this time around as well. And we just need Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, step it up a little bit. Malik McDowell, been playing great, but maybe get a sack, maybe get a pressure, prevent their quarterback from stepping up in the pocket.
Afidi Odenigbo.
Yes, I can't say that.
Mike got the first name right.
Ifidi Odenigbo. I think that's
Before
right.
I close this out tonight, guys, give me your guys' predictions, and then I'm going to do Fatty's hot seat afterwards. I want you guys to stick around for a second because I think you guys are going to enjoy Fatty's hot seat.
Browns big. Browns big.
Browns big. All right, so big what? Brad, big what?
31-14.
Okay. Bry?
Well, a little bit ago I said 27-7 or 26-17, so I'll stick with that.
All right, we have 28-17 in the comments.
Yeah.
What did I pick? I picked 35-26, right? Or 35-6.
What's the line on this
30
game? Does
to
anybody
6.
know?
30-6?
7.5, I believe.
7.5.
I think so. Don't quote me on that.
It feels like this should be a night game, doesn't it? Bears, Browns.
I know. It should be. So, Brad, hang on for a second. Let me get into Fatty's hot seat. I'll see you guys on the backside of this. Brad,
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us. Big Bry, hang on, please.
You got it.
Love you guys. All right, so let's get into Fatty's hot seat. And I got a little sounder for Fatty's hot seat as soon as I find it. This is what happens when I am not in charge. So you got Fatty's hot seat coming up here. All right. And it's not a defensive game. Let me get that out here. So what I want to see out of this game coming up with the Chicago Bears, I want to see Myles Garrett. I haven't seen him yet. I've barely seen him. Go out and do your job, bud. And also, Joe Woods, stop playing zone. You have two shut down corners in Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome that can shut it down, and then you have the safeties to cover the other side. Do it. Because Andy Dalton is not going to scare you. And on the offensive side, take a look at it, Stefanski. Nick Chubb only touched the ball 11 times, and he almost had 100 yards. Give that man the ball. So, on this note, thank you guys in the comments. Chris, Abner, everybody else. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. If you want to come into the Dogs Table, come into the Dogs Table. We are on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, catch us on Big Play. Thank you so much for watching. Like we always say on my show, I'm uncorked, unloaded, and out. See ya.